So this year has brought lots of challenges for lots of different reasons, and having cancer in your world has probably kind of exacerbated all of the other things that have been going on. So lots of people I've been talking to recently have talked about kind of feeling that life's feeling a bit kind of overwhelming or unmanageable, and that they're feeling a bit more untethered than normal. So we thought, in kind of conjunction with Mental Health Month, that might be good to have a couple of things that might help people just kind of get through this time. So I've got three tips. So my first one is about getting present. So all of this uncertainty and all of the worries we have all live in the future. So they can be worries about COVID, they can be worries about cancer, they can be worries about life in general. And so the more we kind of get swept up in those worries, the more tricky it is for us to kind of stay present in our world. So one of my tips to people is often, how do you just get back to where you are? So really simple stuff like, hey, is that a bird that I can hear kind of singing out in the street? Or, hey, I'm going to go for a walk and just kind of count my footsteps for a couple of minutes. Or, can I go and do some nice exercise in the sunshine that makes me kind of feel really connected? So that stuff is really simple, but it really helps. My second one is to identify and know when you're struggling. So most of us get some kind of early warning signals that we're not doing okay. So that's often stuff like, I'm getting really grumpy, I'm not sleeping well, I'm kind of yelling at my kids for no reason. Like all of that stuff, that's usually our brain saying, hey, you're overwhelmed, take a step back. And so if you can identify that stuff earlier on, it's much easier to kind of get on top of it than waiting until it becomes a really big problem and you're kind of struggling. So my kind of general rule of thumb is, if something goes on for more than a week, then you start to worry about it. So say for instance, you have a bad day, you want to crash out, and you just kind of go to bed, pull the covers over your head and don't get out for a day, that's fine. If you don't get out of bed for a couple of days, then I start getting worried. So things like, if you're really sick and you feel terrible, that's all right. But if you're not feeling sick and you still feel terrible, then getting in contact with our service or other services around it is always really helpful. And then my third one is about doing the stuff that's important to you. So in the midst of all of this COVID crazy and the cancer stuff, our worlds can get really small and start to feel really shrunken. So the more that you can do that kind of helps you do the stuff that feels really important and really connected for you, that's the way that kind of you'll generally kind of get up in the morning and go, okay, I've got some stuff that's important to do, and then go to bed at night saying, oh, I feel really good that I did that stuff. So that can be simple stuff. It can be sitting in the sunshine and reading a book. It could be having a nice bath. It can be catching up with friends, anything you need, but stuff that just kind of helps you feel a bit more connected, a bit more engaged, and just kind of have some nice things in your world. So hopefully with my 3 uber simple and hopefully fast tips, that means that you might be able to just get a bit more on top of this kind of strange times that we're living in.